So, today we're going to talk about cravings because they are one of the most misunderstood experiences in midlife, and I would say for women in general. Most women think cravings mean it's a lack of discipline, they're out of control, they're emotional eaters, maybe they have a broken metabolism, but cravings are actually a communication system. When you understand what type of craving you're experiencing, you stop fighting your body and you get to start working with it. So let me explain. There are three primary root causes of cravings. There's a nutrient deficiency where your body is actually saying, hey, I need more of fill in the blank. There's a microbiome imbalance where the gut flora in your gut is out of balance, and it's actually the bad bacteria that's creating your cravings. And then the third root cause is actually emotional needs. But I want to say this clearly and right off the bat. Emotional needs and emotional cravings are not inherently bad. Don't worry, I'll explain more. But what I see, the mistake that I see over and over again, is when we start treating all cravings the same. Trying to solve a physiological craving with just willpowering it out will never ever work. Also, trying to solve an emotional craving with food, we know that only works short term, and long term, actually, if we get real, it doesn't work either. But let's get into it. The root cause number one, the nutrient deficiency. So when the body's deficient in something, it's going to throw up a red flag, a signal that says, hey, I'm deficient in this. These cravings tend to feel persistent and specific, and sometimes leave you unsatisfied even after eating a little something. This is often what's happening when women are under eating and following a calorie restrictive diet, skipping meals, fasting too long, prioritizing low calorie foods over nutrient density. When you consistently nourish the body with enough protein, minerals, and real food, these cravings often just completely go away. And not because you've controlled them or you've outpowered them, but because you answered them. One of my biggest examples that I give my clients all the time is magnesium. If your body is deficient in magnesium, which many of us are deficient in magnesium, then the body throws up a red flag signal saying, hey, we need more magnesium. And then the brain says, I know what has magnesium, chocolate. And so a chocolate craving can actually be sometimes traced back to your body saying, I need more magnesium. Okay, root cause number two, microbiome imbalance. This one is huge and almost is never talked about correctly. Your gut and your brain are connected directly through the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve creates a bidirectional two-way communication system, and they're constantly exchanging information back and forth. When less helpful bacteria start to dominate the gut, they influence things like appetite signals, food preferences, and specifically cravings, especially for sugar and refined carbs. So this is why just stop eating sugar barely ever works for anybody long term if their microbiome is out of balance. So you're not battling willpower, you're actually battling biology. So when we can support your digestive tract and really feed the good bacteria in your gut, the environment becomes more balanced. And those bad bacteria aren't sending messages directly to your brain saying, eat more sugar. You need a croissant. How about some toast before bed? And these cravings often quiet down and completely go away because the signals change. Root cause number three, emotional needs. And the thing about emotional cravings is that they come from a totally different place, but they're usually tied to things that we all experience on a regular basis. Stress, boredom, feelings of loneliness or exhaustion, and emotional depletion. These cravings can often feel urgent but vague. These cravings are more like, oh, I want something, but I just don't know what it is. And by the way, I want to say that there is nothing, and I mean nothing, inherently wrong with emotional cravings. Food is a master nervous system regulator. And when we get down to it, when we're having an emotional requirement, our nervous system dysregulates. Food is designed to relieve any kind of perception of threat, fear, discomfort. It's really about being deeply in tune with what emotions you're feeling when you're having these vague but urgent cravings. With my clients, I have them take a moment and check in with themselves and ask themselves, what do I really want here? And maybe they're just bored. Maybe they're sitting in front of the TV and they're used to just popping popcorn into their mouth. And there's this sense of boredom that the crunchiness of the popcorn actually relieves. So when you become aware of these desires and these needs from a biological or emotional level, it can actually tell you a lot about what your body's asking for and what your heart is needing. So the goal here isn't to eliminate cravings. It's not to arm wrestle cravings. It's not meant to white knuckle yourself through it and just tell yourself, I'm going to be strong enough. The goal here is awareness, when you can pause and ask, what is my body asking for? And then the most important part is to be able to have the tools and the knowledge to be able to give your body what it needs. And when you have that, it's a game changer. One of my favorite things when my clients come to the call and they say things like, I couldn't believe it. They brought the donuts in at work today and I looked at them on the table and I didn't even care. And just the desire, the lack of desire to solve a craving fix can feel like freedom. And when you really address the root cause of your craving, it feels like that. It feels like freedom, where cravings are no longer running the show. They're no longer making your decisions for you. You no longer have to feel shameful or feel bad and guilty about giving in to the craving. And you don't have to try to shore up your willpower and try to, muscle yourself through having a craving. One thing that I want to pull out that I forgot to mention here is the tendency to replace a sugar craving with fruit. And this is just on a tactical, physiological, biological level. I'm going to give you a little tip here. The act of replacing a dessert with fruit can help satisfy the need of the mouth to taste sweetness, but it actually doesn't satisfy anything that the body's actually asking for. So my tip for you here is if you're dealing with intense sugar cravings, there's two things on a biological and nutritional level that I want you to go to first, and it's not fruit. The first is protein, and the second is fats. Good fats, good fats. So one trick that I teach my clients is every time they have a sugar craving, I want them to go and eat a teaspoon of peanut butter or almond butter. See if it goes away. 9 times out of 10, if it's a nutrient deficiency or a nutrient-derived craving, it's 100% going to go away. I have so many more tricks like this. Tricks to be able to determine if it's your microbiome, tips to determine if it's an actual emotional craving, that maybe it's a nutrient deficiency and an emotional craving. That can happen too. I know I'm Italian. I grew up Italian, and I was basically taught to eat in response to any emotion that I had. If I was happy, eat. If I was sad, eat. If I was worried, eat. And what happened over time is that my emotional needs started to impact my nutrient deficiency needs. And that's a whole nother topic that I could teach a whole nother hour on. But what I want you to walk away from this video understanding is that cravings are not inherently bad. They are a communication system. It's your body telling you something, and all you have to do is be able to have the information, the knowledge, and the tools to be able to decipher what your body's asking for and then know how to give it to it. And it's like freedom. Okay, I hope this helps.